Hi everybody, Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 4 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here today to talk about the challenge of masculine and feminine communication. Have you noticed that often those 2 energies will create problems in relationships? Often the masculine energy is trying to solve the problem, fix the problem, where the feminine energy is often wanting to connect. And often there becomes this debate about what you should do in a relationship, how a particular conversation or discussion should go, and it kind of disintegrates often into a who's right debate. There's a quote that I love that says, when the question is either or, the answer is almost always both and. So I want to talk a little bit about a both-and solution where you blend the masculine and the feminine energies to create the best kind of discussion that actually brings a couple together. This entire process was actually inspired by a video by the name of It's Not About the Nail. That's what the video is called. The person who created it is named Jason Handley. And I encourage you to watch it. It's only about 1.5 minutes long, and it's just really, really well done. You can go to Google and Google It's Not About the Nail. It'll pop up, or search for it on YouTube. It's really, really excellent because it really does a wonderful job of speaking to how females do look to connect often, whereas males often will kind of get into that fix-it mode and how that causes problems. This is actually looked at in a very interesting way by Ph.D. linguist Deborah Tannen. She wrote several books, but one of them is called You Just Don't Understand. And it looks at how little boys and little girls use language differently, or kind of socialized to use language differently. Little boys have a tendency to use language to accomplish goals, solve problems, and determine who's in charge. Think of a quarterback. Everybody listens to the quarterback because he's in charge. When you go off the field, now you listen to the coach because he's in charge, and everybody's okay with that because the language has established that. Females, on the other hand, and the feminine energy is often about connection. It's about sensing what's going on with your best friend. And if she's upset, you want to kind of help her. You might want to put your arm around her and comfort her. See, if a little boy is crying on the side of the football field, no other little boy is trying to sense what's going on. They just want them to get off the field so they can play football. And that particular way of being, not right, wrong, good or bad, just different, has a tendency to have people grow up and miscommunicate and misunderstand in conversations. So what does this both and look like? I suggest that connection is important, because that's what the relationship is all about. That's how you became a couple in the first place, is this connection. If you're just always talking about fixing a problem, then it can become what I call the problem du jour, or the problem of the day. We just go from one problem to another problem, and you might solve some problems, but there's little connection. However, if it's always just about the connection, and there's really a problem within the relationship that needs addressing, but it never gets addressed because it's all about the connection, then the problem can get worse. So I suggest we do 2 things. Number 1, look at what the other person wants. Sometimes the feminine energy, when they're bringing a problem to another person, they're not really looking to solve it because it's not a relationship problem. It's kind of their problem. Maybe they had a bad day at work, or someone spoke to them in a way that they felt really bad about. They want to be understood, and they want that person to really empathize with them and feel that, because that's where they get the connection. Whereas often if a male's coming and asking a problem or asking a question, they're looking for, what do you think? If someone says, gee, that must feel terrible, they go, well, yeah, but what do you think? So look at what the other person is wanting when they're bringing a problem to the relationship. If it is a problem in the relationship, I suggest we do this first, in terms of both and solution. That we first go for the connection, because that's the foundation for solving the problem. Understanding how the other person feels and why they feel that way. You may not agree with it, but you want to understand from their perspective how that makes sense to them and how that is important to them. Then you can say, okay, that makes sense. You know, I've got some ideas about solving the problem if you're interested. If they say yes, now they've invited you to give your ideas about a solution, and they're moving to that solution-focused mode. If they say, no thanks, I just kind of wanted to get this off my chest, then terrific. You've made the connection, and it serves the relationship? See, that's the question I think we want to ask ourselves when we are having a discussion with our partner. Is it serving the relationship, or is it some sort of debate about who's right? I hope you found this valuable. If you do, please like the video. As you know, YouTube and Google really pay a lot of attention to people who hit the like button because they recommend that video to others. If you have a comment, please leave it below, or a question. Leave that below as well, and I read all the comments and will try to answer all the questions you have. In the meantime, here is to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do, especially your discussions around masculine and feminine energy. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.